those are the only payments in the life of the case, and there is a substantial balance over $37,000.
Okay.
I've been homeless for the past 5 years, basically. So I didn't know what the what financial condition on the worksheet for amount of allowances would be considered. It says overall financial condition, and it had marked no.
Well, and I think that as has been indicated, the domestic relations affidavits had taken into account primarily the income numbers. If there are extraordinary other circumstances, I suppose those could be potentially considered. Counsel, is there anything that you would like to add in terms of any question of an overall financial condition adjustment?
Judge, that's not something that I wrapped into my child support worksheet. Historically, I've seen those where parties get along and someone is bearing an additional financial burden, like paying for club soccer or things of that nature. So I did not include it. It's something that would have to be pled, if you will, by the parties. And prosecuted by them, and then it's up to the court as to whether or not applying that overall financial adjustment is in the child's best interest.
Miss Regalado, at this point, and I know we've still got some unresolved issues, is there anything that you wanted to add?
Not really. I mean, I pay out of pocket for 2 kids to have orthodontia, so I don't feel like dropping the number too terribly much is entirely fair, but I don't know. I don't really have anything to add, I guess.
All right. Mr. Wainer, do you have additional information? I mean, I understand that you've indicated that you've been, I think you said more or less, homeless for a period of time. Is there any other information that you wanted to add at this time, or do you want to request continuance so that you could formally draft a pleading in the case so you could explain in fuller detail any concerns you might have about any other reduction or adjustment that you think you would be entitled to?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, I recognize that there are a lot of moving parts in each of our lives, and I recognize that whether it be Mr. Wainer's concern about his circumstances in a big picture kind of a way, and some of the challenges he's been working through over some recent years, or whether it be Miss Regalado's heart's cry that there are expenses that are being borne fully by her that are meaningful expenses, and that would make big reductions in the amount of the monthly child support just that much more difficult for her to contend with. I think that there is some provision, generally speaking, for sharing of some of those extraordinary expenses. I do think that in a big picture context, and it's in all candor, probably not a perfect solution, or at least from the vantage point of acknowledging that there are real challenges that both parties are experiencing, and there's probably on both sides of that equation a reality that some additional monies would be of great value and great help. I think I'm confronted with trying in as orderly way as I can to take those data points into account, but also to view them through the prism of the worksheet, which is what we've been given to work with. And it does have some room to maneuver, so to speak. But I think that council has sought to plug in the numbers such as they were available from the domestic relations affidavit submitted by both parties. And again, while imperfect, I think it's probably the most reasonable document to be relied on in terms of setting support. And with that in mind, I will modify the support from the $778 to the $619 a month. That is, of course, potentially subject to further change as children get older, as job situations shift and change, as other factors come into focus. But at least at this snapshot in time, I think that is the number that makes most sense. And I will make that order effective February 1, 2023. And to the extent there may have been any, and actually, counsel, do you think that, is there any history of the 778 having been paid in February and March, or have there been any recent payments?
Judge, the income withholding order has been paying in consistently for the last 5 months now, but that being said, those are the only payments in the life of the case, and there is a substantial balance over $37,000.
Okay.
The income with, I'm sorry, the present income withholding order does have an additional 100 per month on it to address that.
Okay. And I'm just thinking that since it will take us a little while to get orders drafted and signed and circulated, it was within the court's discretion, and I believe it might be more in line with the ability of an adjustment to be made by the employer for Mr. Wainer, that I would make the change effective April 1, 2023, rather than February 1, and with the expectation that that should obviate any need for, and I guess with the arrearage balance, it wouldn't have been an issue anyway, but it seems like that might make sense to make sure that all of the orders get signed and in place, and we'll make it effective April 1. And then Mr. Wainer, you could expect beginning in April that reduction would be showing on your withholdings, and I will leave the $100 towards the arrearage balance in place as well.
Okay.
All right.
Judge, I will draft that order.
All right. Thank you. And Ms. Regalado, thank you as well. Mr. Wainer, thank you. And you're free to log out of the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.